Alright everyone, so it may come as a surprise to literally no one, but I haven't even unlocked the Red Death, the seasonal exotic pulse rifle from episode Echoes, so today we're going to unlock it, we're going to take it for a spin and we're going to break it down a little bit as well. I know that this thing has been, in the game for well over 2 months at this point, but honestly I haven't even shot this thing in anger at this point. But I've been hearing good things about it, and it does have some perfect synergy with the artifact as well this season in terms of the anti-barrier pulse rifle mod. So this thing has got tons of viability in endgame content, whether that's lost sectors, Grandmaster Nightfalls, any of that master raid or dungeon stuff, then this thing is going to do absolute bits. And it's got some perfect synergy with a ton of builds, mainly your solar builds, because it is a solar aggressive frame pulse rifle. It's going to apply that cure on reloading after a final blow with it, and if you do get the catalyst, it's also going to allow you to get restoration essentially on tap. And so I think the best way to play with this build at the minute is to try and set your subclass up to get Radiant as often as possible, and then with the Ember of Empyrean you're going to be able to use that to basically keep Radiant and Restoration topped up to the absolute maximum. You're going to be doing that 25% extra damage boost paired with some weapon surges on your boots. You're going to be doing absolute bits. So we're going to go test this thing out in one of the recent legend lost sectors over on Europa. And Europa, I mean, it is just, Europa to me is the original, destination for Destiny 2. I mean, it was basically the first new destination that we got for quite some time in Destiny 2. Obviously we returned to the moon with Shadowkeep, and there's been a little bit of uproar in terms of Neo Muna, and even with the Final Shape and the Pale Heart. I mean, the Pale Heart is a great destination, but Europa, I mean, it was so storied up until that point, and to be fair, it's still one of my favourite destinations as well. So in terms of this build that we've got going on, then we've got the rocket sidearm just for a little bit of damage, but the main thing that we're going to be using is obviously Red Death. But in terms of taking out the Overlord champions, my absolute favourite thing at the minute is the Slammer with Cold Steel. Now obviously with the artifact you're going to be able to use the Overlord sword mod, but if you don't know, then Cold Steel is going to apply slow stacks to targets on pretty much any hit as long as you've got ammo with the sword. And so you're going to see a ton of footage in this gameplay of me basically just bum rushing a ton of enemies with the Overlord nature of Cold Steel, and that's just where we're going with that sword and this little setup. So I mean, I've been trying a little bit of a different style with these videos as we start bashing through this lost sector in this bit and get Red Death going with the anti-barrier pulse rifle on this barrier champion. And this is basically just a little bit of a post-comms, post-edit sort of breakdown of what's going on, leaning into that casual chat and just basically just having a little bit of a chat about Destiny 2 and what's going on in the game. I mean, let me know what you think about these videos. I mean, obviously we see these quite a little bit with PvP videos, but I thought we'd just change it up and do some PvE content. The PvPers, they've got their own thing where they do a match and they talk about a weapon, talk about a build, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. So we're going to do it PvE wise, why the hell not? But let's go back to the build and what we're aiming of doing with this thing. So if you've been watching and been paying attention, then you'll see that I've pretty much nearly got an infinite uptime of the Helion solar buddy, and that's basically where we're going with it, trying to get Radiant up with these rapid solar final blows and leaning into the Radiant Orbs mod on the artifact. Here then obviously I've popped the super, and that was basically just to close the gap on the Overlord so that it didn't nuke me. Obviously it doesn't have too many places to go there, and we can just close the gap and take out that Overlord champion. Nothing too silly, nothing too crazy going on. Obviously this is just an expert level lost sector, but I know that, you know, they can be a little bit tricky if you don't really take your time and you know where the enemy spawns are coming from. I mean, this one probably a lot of people know it like the back of the hand, but it is what it is at this point. Obviously just watch out for these exploder shanks which can cause misery, but obviously with Red Death and that cure pretty much on tap and restoration, if you do have the catalyst, then you know you're basically not going to die with this thing. Obviously I was struggling a little bit here, wasn't really sure where this overload was going, but once we managed to shut it down with the slow and freeze from the slammer with cold steel, then that was basically it. But like we said at the beginning of the video, we were looking at using Red Death for the first time, and with one of its main exotic perks, then obviously it gives that little bit of a boost to its handling, to its, you know, just usability, aim down sight speed and stuff while you're dealing damage with it. And that's one of the things that I think goes a little bit overlooked with weapons in PvE content now. I know that a lot of high-end players like to use reload mods on their armour just to basically keep in the fight and keep going as quickly as possible, and I think it's one thing that is overlooked. So it's nice that it's a little bit more of an intrinsic feel on this pulse rifle. Obviously it is an aggressive frame, so they are quite sluggish in nature, but as you can tell, and if you've used Red Death, then it does feel absolutely amazing to use, to be fair. And I'm a little bit dumbfounded why I haven't used it so far this season, because this thing is just absolutely nuts. Like, it's made this lost sector an absolute breeze, taking out the trash ads, getting that cure going, and obviously with the damage boost that you do get with this, if your shields are destroyed for whatever reason, then you're going to be essentially getting a 40% damage boost, which is just absolutely massive on any weapon. And if you're pairing that with Radiant, you're pairing that with weapon surges, then you know Red Death is just going to absolutely shred. And then on top of that, if that wasn't enough, you got restoration going. It's just absolutely bonkers, and I don't know why I haven't been using it more often, but I think that is all about to change as we basically take out the rest of the enemies in this lost sector. And I think off the top of my head that was a flawless lost sector as well, so that was pretty sweet. Got some good little rewards there, and an exotic engram, which is always good if you're wanting the new exotic armor. Make sure you go to Rahul, make sure you focus your exotic engrams so that you level him up quicker, and then you're going to be able to get any of the exotic armor pieces that you want. But we only got 5% on the catalyst there. I'm definitely going to work at that, definitely going to get that one done, and we'll probably see you again in another video with the Red Death. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.